Hi guys, Merry Vlogmas Day, 12 days of Vlogmas Day 6, right? Am I right? Um, okay, so this one is going to start out with a couple of story times. Let's have a story time. One of them is scary, and one of them is really sad and tragic, but ultimately triumphant. So hang with me because it'll get better. The one story I've actually already told you, but I will recap because it is Christmas now. So the first story, I'm gonna fix my camera here. The first story is so yesterday I went for my pain shots, as you guys know. And one of the things that they do before you go in, they weigh you because how much lidocaine you're given is based upon your body weight. That is how they prevent lidocaine toxicity, which can cause you to become tachycardic, which means you have a rapid heartbeat, which can throw you into AFib, which means that you can have a heart attack, and it can actually be fatal if it's like if they've given you way too much. But it's certainly, holy crap, call 911 and get them out of the clinic into the hospital. But to the best of my knowledge, it never happened. But whatever. But anyways, they're very careful about it. It's given to you by weight. So whatever, it's not like I was given too much or anything like that. I certainly wasn't, and I trust my pain doctor with my life. So they do ask after you have your injections done. Well, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Before you have your injections done, the nurse comes in. She does your blood pressure, does your blood oxygen level, does your pulse, does all your vitals. Asks you how you've been feeling since your last injections. Have you been sick at all? Like, have you had a flu or a cold or anything? Or are you sick right now? Because if you are, get the hell out. And then you sit and you wait for the doctor to come in, and a few minutes later she comes in. So one of the things that after your shots, they recommend. I have no idea why my phone just shut off. Who knows? Okay. One of the things that they ask you to do especially when you first start getting shots, is to stick around for half an hour. Not like they'll have you go out and wait in the waiting room because they need all the exam rooms that they have for all the people out there waiting. And they'll ask you to just stick around for half an hour and make sure that you feel okay, because some people can get lightheaded and dizzy. Some people can feel nauseated, all of the above. Some people can faint, some people do faint during their needles. Yesterday, I know I'm digressing because I'm me. I said to Dr. Mount when she walked in, I said, "Oh my friggin' God, it sounds like labor and delivery in here today." And she bust out laughing because down the hallway from me was a woman going, "Ow, ah, ow, ow, ow," just scream like at the top of her lungs. And she sounded very panic stricken and very much in pain. And I'm thinking, they don't really hurt that much, but everybody's got a different pain tolerance. Like, I don't know, I just have a high pain tolerance. And then down the other hallway, I could hear a man going, "Oh, oh, ow, oh, oh." It sounded like somebody's in labor, and so I don't know. Anyways, we got to laugh out of that. Anyway, so you are asked to sit and wait for half an hour. Just make sure that you feel okay. I never have, because I've always been completely fine. Like, I get my needles. She does hit some spots where you almost come off the table, but it is what it is, and it looks a lot more painful than it really is. I don't know. It's just me. I have a high pain tolerance, I guess. But anyway, so I had my pain shots. Everything was fine. We went and picked up my youngest son, Tyson, yay, who you saw last night on the video, and he's here till Sunday, so I'm so excited. And we're having our Christmas on Saturday, tomorrow. Tomorrow already. So anyway, went and picked up Ty, grabbed coffee, whatever, made the 2-hour drive home. Everything was fine. I felt great, felt fine, felt normal, was frozen, like had no bottom jaw. I still have no bottom jaw. It's getting a bit better, and my earlobes, I can feel my earlobes again. What do you know about that? Back of my neck still a bit numb, but it is wearing off now, and that's a pretty normal time span. Yesterday I had it done at 12:45, 1 o'clock, give or take. So anyway, 24 hours later, I still have a small amount of numbness, but not anything to get excited about. So anyway, thank God Tyson was outside. He's a smoker, unfortunately. I'm trying to get him to quit. And of course, you cannot smoke in our house. So he was outside having a cigarette, thank God, because he would have lost his shit. I mean, he's 27 years old, but he's still, you know, my baby, right? So he would have lost his shit if he had seen this. So we were getting supper ready, and I was at the sink doing something. Fonts was standing at the counter, so we had kind of like our backs to each other, and I guess he said something to me, and I didn't answer him. And then he asked me again, and I still didn't answer. And I guess on the third time, he was like, Kel, and he turned around and looked at me, and he said that I was gripping the edge of the counter, the sink. And I remember I could hear him going, Kelly, 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 like screaming at me. But it sounded like he was standing out on the street yelling it. Like he sounded a million miles away. I could hear him, but I couldn't respond. I couldn't say anything. And the next thing I know, I'm sort of coming to, and everything's spinning, and I felt like I was going to throw up, and I was face down on the kitchen floor, and he had run, poor thing, he had run in the living room and grabbed a cushion, one of my throw cushions off my couch, and stuck it under my head. I guess he was afraid, like, my head was on the floor. Oh, sorry, guys. And I guess he was afraid that I was going to hurt myself, or I was going to be uncomfortable or something. But I was flat on my stomach, and I was like this in the pillow. And I remember the first thing I said was, I can't breathe. I couldn't breathe. And I immediately started to cry. I just started to bawl my heart out because I thought, oh my God, I just had a fucking seizure. I just had a fucking seizure. And if I had a seizure, then we all know what that means. We all know that young Charles here has decided that it's time to be an asshole the week before Christmas. I mean, no time is a good time, but the week before Christmas, ain't happening, buddy, right? So anyways, apparently, I didn't seize at all. He said there was no seizure activity at all. He said you just kind of basically sort of melted. By this time, he had turned around and took a hold of me because I wasn't answering. And he was like, Kelly, Kelly. And then he realized that I was kind of doing this, standing at the sink. And he was like, oh my God. And he grabbed a hold of me, and he kind of leaned my back against his chest and then took me to the floor. So see, he learned things from all my years in nursing homes. How to lower someone safely to the floor who is falling, right? Let them slide down your leg. So anyway, he lowered me to the floor. He went down to the floor with me. And then he said, I need to lie down. I need to lie down. Because I guess he had me in a seated position. And he turned me over onto my stomach and laid me on my stomach and then tried to like smother me with a pillow. But so I started to cry, and I said to him, oh my God, I didn't seize. Did I seize? Did I seize? And he said, no, honey, you didn't seize. You just fainted. You were fine. And my left hand was doing this flicking thing again, right? So that's what happened last night, and that was horrifying. And I'm okay. I'm fine. I didn't injure myself. My head felt kind of tender right here, like as if I bumped it on the counter on the way down. But he says I didn't. He swears I didn't. So just pause 1 second. I'm back. So keeping in mind that this was literally hours and hours. This was probably, gosh, I don't even know. We ate supper late. This was probably like 7:30 last night. And as I said, my appointment was 12:45. By the time she actually began the injections was probably just shortly after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is hours and hours and hours later. Now, it happened one other time, and I didn't actually lose consciousness, but it was an extremely surreal and weird experience. Was probably back in September, maybe, or something, October-ish. I know the weather was still nice. Anyway, I know that. And I had gone for my shots, and my husband said that we went somewhere. He says we went to watch his oldest granddaughter play soccer. And he might be right. I can't, that's my memory. See, I don't remember. Because I thought we left the doctor's and went straight to Walmart. But he said, no. He said there was hours in between. He said, no, we went to watch the soccer game. So perhaps he's probably right. And I'm not, because my memory sucks. But brain injury. So anyway, yeah. So that time, we'd gone and watched the soccer game, and then we had to stop at Walmart to pick up a few things on the way home, because once we leave the city, that's it. There's not, like, we live in a teeny weeny little village, right? There's no Walmart in our village, trust me. So when we were in Walmart, we were done what we were doing, and again, this is hours later after the shots, and we were just about to get into line to start paying, and all of a sudden I started to feel really weird, and I started to feel like I broke out in a body sweat, started to feel like I was going to pass out, and stupidly, this is stupid, people, don't ever frigging do this, because I'm an idiot. I guess I just panicked, and I didn't want to make a scene in Walmart. So I said to my husband, you go, like, through the cash, and I'm just going to go to the bathroom because I have to pee, whatever, right? So he was like, okay, fine. And I guess I looked fine. Otherwise, he would have said, what's wrong? But he said, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. So I got into the ladies' bathroom, and I'm sitting on the toilet in the ladies' bathroom going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, don't pass out, don't pass out, don't pass out. And I swear I came this close, but I know I didn't, or I would have fell face first off the friggin' toilet. So I sat there for a few minutes, and it kind of subsided, and then I felt well enough to, like, stand up cautiously, because I was really scared that if I stood up too quick, I would pass out. And I went out and washed my hands and kind of, you know, splashed my face with a bit of water. And I remember a lady came in, it was hot that day, and a lady came in and she was like, oh, it's hot today. And I said, oh, I know, my God, that and hot flashes, which I don't get hot flashes anymore. Just making an excuse for standing in a Walmart bathroom, splashing my face with water, looking like, you know, a complete idiot. So anyway, walked out of the bathroom. My husband was standing right there waiting for me. And of course, my husband, being my husband, had run into somebody that he knew. So he was standing there chatting. I don't remember if it was an old neighbor or someone he used to work with. I don't remember. He introduced me to this gentleman. Couldn't tell you to this day what the man even looked like or what his name was, because I just was like, oh, very, very nice to meet you. We have to go. Like that abruptly. And I guess I didn't look very well at this point. I looked pretty pale. So he was like, oh, okay. And he said, well, it was really good to see you, buddy. You know, shook hands, take care, bye. And we started to walk away. And he's like, are you okay? And I said, no, I'm not okay. Like, not at all. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I just feel horrible. And I said, it just came over me when we were coming up to the cash. And he said, why didn't you say anything? And I said, well, I don't want to make like a big, you know, scene in Walmart. So I said, just get me out to the car. So we have a handicap sticker now. So we always park in we call it the R spot. So we're always right at the entrance. It's not like you have to walk, you know, 20 miles to the flipping car, because we all know how big Walmart parking lots are, right? So anyways, he got me the car. He got me in the car, in the passenger side of the car, because I rarely drive. And my left hand, I'm going to have to like tilt down. Again, no idea why my camera just shut off. I'm going to kill it. Anyway, my left hand, I'm just going to tilt down here, but my left hand was sitting, I still can't friggin' see it. So my left hand was sitting here on my lap. God almighty. And my left hand was like this, and it just kept going like this. And I couldn't stop it. I'm sitting there watching my left hand do this flippy thing, and I can't stop it. I have absolutely no control over it, which scared the shit out of me, because of course I'm thinking it's Charlie, right? But Charlie is in my left frontal lobe. If it's going to affect my physical body, like my hand, my leg, it's going to be on the right? So anybody who understands, like any of my nursey friends understand, anybody who understands that, you know, left side, if you have a stroke on your left side, your right side will be affected. If you have a stroke on your right, your left side will be affected, because left brain controls right body and vice versa. So because it was my left hand doing this flippy thing, my first thought was, oh my God, it's a tumor. And then I thought, what are you saying? What are you thinking? You know better than that. If it was the tumor, it would be your right hand doing it. And I remember feeling very, how do I describe it? Very surreal, very unreal. Like my surroundings were not real. And because of the weird sleep disorders that I now have since the accident, another thing I can be, you know, grateful for. I do have extremely vivid, horrifying, terrifying. I've explained to you all about my sleep disorders, and with the REM behavior disorder, I do have terrible nightmares where I'm trapped and I'm, something beyond my control, and I'm being chased and I'm being pursued, and the car is on fire and it's under the water and it's blah, blah, blah. And then the limb movement disorder where I'm flailing and flinging. And so you got to wonder with this whole hand flippy dippy thing, like, and I remember by this time, of course, he had gone around, sat in the driver's seat, and he was freaking, and he's like, Kel, are you okay? Like, look at me, talk to me, what's going on? And I remember I looked him right in the eyes and I said to him, is this happening right now? Like, am I here? Am I dreaming this? Is this really happening? And he said, yes, honey, it's really happening. It's real. You are in the car. You're with me. We're in the city. We're at Walmart in the parking lot, and this is happening. And of course, I just started to bawl. Like, I was absolutely terrified. I just realized that lampshade above my head looks pretty funny. Huh? Zing, squirrel. Oh, you gotta love a good brain injury, people. Seriously, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So that was one other time that post shots that I had something weird happen. Now that time I didn't actually lose consciousness. And this time I think I kind of grayed out for like a couple of seconds, really. Because I can remember hearing him behind me going, Kelly, Kelly, Kelly. And he sounded a million miles away. And I couldn't respond. I couldn't answer. And then I asked him, like, did I seize? Did I do like any like seizure kind of activity? Sorry, guys. Apparently, I had way too much space used up on my camera, so I just had to delete a bunch of old vlogs that were still it's not my camera, it's my phone. Anyway, I had to delete a bunch of old stuff because it wouldn't let me record anything further. So where was I? So I asked him if I did any seizure activity. Did I? Because there's a huge difference between. I gotta look up here. Oh my god. Hi guys. There is a huge difference between someone just fainting and someone actually having a seizure, like a mountain of difference. And trust me, I've seen more grand mal seizures in my life than I can shake a stick at. Not my own, obviously, because I wasn't, conscious to witness them when I was a kid. But, in my career. So, and a really bad grand mal seizure can literally look like the person is dying. I mean, they can turn blue, they can turn gray, they can, you think, oh my God, and of course, there's the old wise tale that they're going to choke on their tongue, and that's what people think is happening when they're turning gray and blue, and it's not. It's just that they're not getting proper oxygen because they're not breathing properly, because a lot of the times, like, and they're like grunting and, So anyways, none of that happened, thank God. So it wasn't a seizure, and I didn't pee my pants. So usually when somebody seizes, male, female, doesn't matter who you are, if you seize, anybody with a seizure disorder will tell you this, that it's one of the more embarrassing aspects of it, especially in public. Usually you do lose control of your bladder. It just empties, and there's nothing you can do about that, and you wake up with wet pants, and I didn't pee my pants, so that was another indication that it was not a seizure. So very, very scary. My husband basically carried me to the couch, laid me down, and then my son came in from outside, and he was like, what's going on? Because of course now I'm crying because it scared the shit out of me, and my husband's crying because it scared the shit out of him. And Tyson's like, oh my God, what's wrong? And of course, with both of my parents being as ill as they are, he thought that perhaps I had just received a phone call, I think maybe is what he thought. I think the last thing he thought that, his stepdad was going to say to him was, your mother just fainted in the kitchen, was the last thing. Anyway, so he's freaking out. He's almost in tears. He's like, oh my God, Mom, are you okay? What the hell? What happened? So anyway, yeah, that was the story. So that was scary. That was really, really scary. Today I feel fine. Within, I don't know, a half an hour of it happening, I felt kind of weak and a bit wobbly, and I was sort of, afraid to stand up too fast or do anything too fast, and I just kind of, hung out on the couch for the rest of the night. But I woke up this morning, I feel fine, except for the normal, pain and, whatever, the normal daily stuff. I feel completely fine. And my husband and my son have actually gone out to do some running around, last minute things. And I said, you know what, I'm going to stay home because I have baking to do. And yeah, we'll get on to the baking in a bit here. But anyway, so that's story number 1, and that is the scary story. So, story number 2. Let's just pause. Hang on. Alrighty then. So story number 2 is I've told you this. I told you guys this story before, and I'm just gonna like sort of revamp it because now it is Christmas time again. There's my tree. So the accident happened May 25th, 2015. August 25th. I had to keep the date straight. This is a little easier for me to remember because now it's more of a long-term memory than a short-term. Don't ask me what I had, said 5 minutes ago, but I might be able to get this straight. So August 25th, I went in for an MRI on my head because the vertigo was really severe, and my doctor was concerned that there might have been a bleed, or there might have been, some reason why this vertigo was not resolving, 3 months later. And this is when young Charles here was found quite by accident, pun intended, because of the accident. So they called me back the next day, and they said, you need to get back in for another MRI ASAP. This time we're going to use the dye. So that was a big red flag. Clearly they had found something, but again, we just assumed it was something to do with the accident, So went in, had it done with the dye, and then September 2nd went to see my family doctor, who then sat me down. And if you've been through the old videos, you will know that as soon as I saw his face, I stood right up out of the chair and I said, what's wrong? He came in and he shut the door with his back, and he just stood there and stared at me. He's been my doctor since I was 17, and I'm 53. So we have a very long, very, very good relationship. He was the doctor for all 3 of my children. We just have a very long, long and good relationship, and I love him to death. And I'm not going to say his name here, but, because I don't have permission to, but I love him to death. But anyway, so, you've known somebody for over 30 years, you kind of get to know their facial expressions, you know what I mean? And he came in and he shut the door with his back, and he had a file, and he had it clutched to his chest, and he just kind of went and just looked at me. And I was like, I stood up out of my chair and I said, what? And he's like, it's okay, Cal, just sit down. And I said, no, what's going on? What's wrong? And he said, Kelly, just sit down. And I looked at him, and I called him by his first name, and I won't say it, but I'll just say it starts with a K. So I said, K, what the fuck is going on? And he said, Kelly, just sit down. Just sit down. So I sat down on the very edge of my chair, and he proceeded to look me in the eye and say, well, we got your MRI results back, and you have a tumor in your brain. And the first words that came out of my mouth was, I went, what? Why? Of all this stupid shit to come out of your mouth. I didn't cry. I never cried. We talked about it. We talked about what it was, that it was a glioma astrocytoma, that it was in my left frontal lobe, and quite possibly has been there my entire life because I had that unlabeled seizure disorder as a kid. I've never had my head in an MRI machine. Why would I? There was no reason to. When I was a kid, there was no MRI, right? So it got missed. But anyway, or not, or it's something new. So anyway, so all of that was diagnosed on the 2nd of September, and it was a nightmare, and it was horrifying. And basically, I think it's the same for anyone, and I'm quoting the guy from Casting Crowns, that song that I shared with you guys called Oh My Soul. Please listen to it again, because that song changed my life. I know that sounds stupid, and I am by no means an overly religious person. And it's not necessarily that you're laying your problems down at the feet of God. It can be at the feet of the universe, of Mother Nature, of whoever, if you believe in a higher power, or just lay it down and walk away from it because it's too heavy to carry. Let someone else carry it for you. It's too much. Anyway, to quote him, he wrote that song after he was diagnosed with cancer. He had a tumor in his kidney that was the size of his kidney, and the kidney had to come out. And he said that in that moment, and I thought, oh my God, this is bang on, bang on. He said, in that moment when the doctor said to me, you have a tumor in your kidney, and it's the size of your kidney, and that kidney's going to have to go, and, you know, this could be cancer. And apparently he and his doctor have known each other for years. I think he actually said they grew up together. He's from a very small Midwestern town somewhere, I don't know where, somewhere in the States. And they've known each other for years and have a very long relationship. And he said, when he said that to me, he said, that's not what I heard. He said, what I heard was, hey man, you're going to die. And honest to God, I swear to you, everything that my doctor was saying to me, you have a tumor in your brain, and it's this and it's that. And he was, you know, going on explaining things. And all I was hearing was, Kelly, you're going to die. You need to get your affairs in order or whatever. But all I heard was, I think anytime that you're like, he didn't tell me it was cancer. And it's not thus far. As far as we know. It may be right now as I'm speaking, and I just don't know it yet. But that's what I heard when I was told you have a tumor in your brain. All I heard was you're going to die, right? So the next few weeks were a nightmare until I got to see a neurosurgeon who was amazing and very reassuring, and said that it's not anything of a terribly aggressive nature, that it's just going to be monitored. And, you know, then I went forward with all my MRIs and stuff, and I haven't had one in a while, and so I'm probably going to have one in the new year. But anyway, so Christmas 2015 was probably the worst Christmas I have ever had in my whole entire life, because I really thought that it was probably my last. And I told you guys the story before, but I'll just recap it, about buying a Christmas tree at the exact same place where we just bought this one, a grocery store that has a big tree lot set up out front every year. And I was alone. My husband was at work. This is before he had the strokes, before he took sick. There I go again, covering the camera lens. He didn't have the strokes until 2016 in May. So this was December 2015. And I was alone, and of course I had to get a carry-out, you know, if I'm rarely alone shopping, I'm usually always with my husband, but on those rare occasions that I do drive, because I'm too anxious now to drive, and I am alone, even just our little grocery store here in town, I will ask for one of the boys to come out and, like, help me put my groceries in the car and stuff, because I can't lift them. I really can't. So this time I had groceries and a tree, so I had asked for a carry-out. So the young fella come out, and he put all my groceries in my car, and then he and I walked back, and I had already chosen the tree, I'd already paid for it, and the guy that's standing there, you know, selling the trees had already tied like a little ribbon around it, like sold, you know. So we came back and said, okay, that's the tree, and the whole time that I was trying to choose a tree, I was just, like, my chin is quivering and my eyes are filling up with tears and my hands are shaking. I'm thinking, just please don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Just get through it. Just get fucking through it. Just buy the fucking tree, get it in the truck, and then you can lose your shit. But don't lose your shit right now. Just buy the tree, right? So I kind of went, and asked my kids. Usually me choosing a Christmas tree is like an hour-long thing where I look at 25 different trees and usually end up choosing tree number 1 in the end anyway. But I'm very picky about my real Christmas trees. I mean, come on, guys. Seriously, look at that tree. Oh, wait a minute. I'm casting look at that. I mean, come on. That That is just stinking gorgeous. And I mean, honest to God, it could pass for a fake tree. It's so perfect. I love it so much. So anyway, so the boy that worked at the grocery store brought the tree out to my truck, and then he just walked away. And he was like, okay, there you go. And I said, and he said, Merry Christmas or something. And I said, okay, thank you. And then I'm like, how am I supposed to get this tree in the back of my truck? I can't even lift a bag of groceries, for heaven's sakes. So I couldn't lift it. I couldn't even move it. So I'm standing there and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And now I start to cry. Now that's it. That's it. Now I'm done. And I just started bawling. And I mean like big, ugly, loud sobbing. This is before I was on antidepressants. And it would just come over me and I would just blow, like out of control. Like you could hear me from, down the road. And that's what happened. I just lost my shit. So I'm standing there and I don't even know what to do. Like I can't even lift it. What do I do? Like I can't just drive away, leave it standing here. I just paid for it and I needed my Christmas tree. So there was a gentleman who was parked in a van right beside me, who came upon this crazy woman standing there sobbing, hanging onto a tree. Like the tree's leaning against the truck. I'm leaning on the tree and I'm just sobbing uncontrollably. And he was like, are you okay? Do you need a hand? And I was like, yeah, okay. I need to get my tree in the truck. Oh my God, just a fucking basket case, right? I, to this day, could not tell you what that man looked like. I could not tell you anything. I couldn't even look at him. I couldn't even turn my face to look at him. I was so embarrassed and felt like such an idiot because here it is a week before Christmas and I'm like, he must have thought I was some kind of like drunk or drug addict or something. Like, what is wrong with this broad in broad daylight standing in the middle of a friggin' grocery store parking lot sobbing like the end of the world has come, hugging a Christmas tree, basically. So this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being, I have no idea who you are, but if you're out there, God bless you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I will never, see, I'm going to get emotional now. Just that little random act of kindness from a complete stranger. And I mean, people tend to do, like, I think little random acts of kindness more around the holidays because we get all sentimental and stuff. And we should do that every day. Every day, guys. Every single day of our lives. Little tiny random acts of kindness and human decency. And he could see that I was struggling. Clearly I was bawling. I mean, he didn't know why. He didn't, like, I'm not going to turn and say to this total stranger, I have a brain tumor and I'm going to die. And this is my last Christmas. And I had a car accident and I can't lift the tree. And I need it, like... So anyway, I said nothing except when he said, do you need a hand? I was like, yes, please. So anyway, this guy picks up this tree like it weighs nothing because he was like, a big full-grown man, stuffs it in the back of my truck and shuts, because I had the Ford Escape, right? Like, not the new one that looks like a car. They're ugly. I had like an actual, real one. 4x4, Gets it stuffed in there, and the front of it's like, when I was driving home, the front of it was like right here. The peak, the top of the tree was like right here. But anyways, he stuffed it in there and shut the truck, the door, hatchback thing, cover, whatever. And then he tapped me. He just kind of like put his hand on my shoulder and he kind of gave it like just a little squeeze, but not, it was comforting. It wasn't like inappropriate or, this guy's like trying to cop a feel or something. It was nothing like that. He put his hand on my shoulder. He was still standing like behind me. So I guess it was his shoulder. He put his hand on my shoulder and he kind of gave it a little squeeze and he said, Merry Christmas. And I said, Merry Christmas. And I got in my truck and I sat behind the wheel of the truck and I sobbed for like 10 minutes. I couldn't stop. Once I got started, it was one of those uncontrollable, I could not stop. And it was one of those, like, you have to kind of cry it out. You have to cry until you can't cry anymore. And I wouldn't have been able to see to drive anyway. So I sat there and, sobbed it out for 10 minutes, and then I drove home. And so that is a Christmas story. Sad and pathetic as it is, but real. That's me. I'm pretty raw. I'm pretty honest. I'm not gonna, I don't sugarcoat shit for nobody. That was probably one of the sweetest, most wonderful random acts of kindness that I've ever had another human being do for me. And yeah, so here we are 2 years later. I really, really thought that that was going to be, I got to look up here, guys. I'm so sorry. I really, really thought that was going to be my last Christmas. So flash forward to Christmas 2016. My husband has now had the 3 strokes in May. He is not working. Neither one of us will ever work again. We've both been forced into early retirement by me by the accident, he by his strokes. So we had no money, and I mean no money. No money. So what I did for the family was, we did do Christmas dinner for the kids, and I did a bunch of baked goods, managed to scrape up the money for that and did a bunch of baked goods, and the kids had Christmas dinner and a tin of baked goods, and they were happy with that. My kids are adults, they're not babies, right? So that is what we're doing again this year, because again, we still have no money because my court case is not settled, and I'm not supposed to talk about that. I didn't mention that. But anyways, yeah, so we're still living, life on a shoestring, barely managing, and yeah, so let's not get into financial stuff, but it's not good. It's ugly, let's put it that way. Anyway, so that's what we're doing again this year, but last year I put up a tree and it looked like that right up until Christmas came and went. There was not one, there will be gifts under that tree. I have gift wrapping to do, so there was not one single gift under that tree. Nothing. And I have never been happier in my life. I got to say that Christmas 2016 was probably the best Christmas of my life. And the reason why is because I never thought that I was going to see it. I honestly, in 2015, believed that this was probably going to be my last Christmas. I have a fucking brain tumor. Right? So Christmas 2016, as poor as it was, I could have cared fucking less. I had a tree, I had my kids, we had our turkey dinner, I made these baked goods, and they took their couldn'ts, as Newfies call them, which means you couldn't eat it yesterday, so you're eating it today. Couldn'ts, leftovers. They had their couldn'ts, they had their tins of baked goods, everybody was happy, and mommy's alive, so... And feeling well this way, not body-wise from the accident, but, yeah, so that was probably the happiest Christmas ever. So this year we're kind of doing a replay of last year, so I do have some gifts to wrap, and I did make, have a very special gift made for my dad, which I'm not going to put on here right now because I'm afraid that my sister might see it, and then inadvertently my dad might be like watching the computer when she's watching, because she's down there right now. But I did have a very special photo book made for him, and it's going to mean a lot to him. So, and of course did get some gifts from Mom and stuff too. So, and my husband's grandkids. Yeah. So I'm still waiting for grandchildren of my own to spoil. Stay tuned, because these people owe me. I keep telling my adult children they are 30, 27, and 24. You people fucking owe me. Where's my grandkids? But, good things come to those who wait. So hopefully one day in the near future, I'm 53. I should have a couple of grandkids, right? Everybody that I grew up with, even people who are a year or two younger than me, have grandkids. Everybody has grandkids. Even my husband has grandkids. I have no grandkids. None. Like, what the hell, people? But I have 3 kids. Like, this is not normal. I need grandbabies. But anyway, so I am going to pause this video momentarily. Oh, wait. No, there's something that I have to show you. So, yesterday, I go to pick up my son. I gotta back up a bit here. Oh, ouch. we go to pick up my son, and his landlady is just like the nicest human being you ever want to meet. Last year for Christmas, I couldn't afford to buy my kids Christmas gifts. She bought him winter boots. His landlady. She's not his grandmother. She's not his aunt. She's not a family friend. She's his landlady. Nicest person. Her name is Pat. She's an absolute sweetheart of a woman. And she bought my kid winter boots. I cried my eyes out because it was so kind, so sweet, so thoughtful, and I felt so bad that I couldn't buy my own child winter boots. But anyhow, so we go to pick up Tyson yesterday, and Pat hands me this box, and she said, here, this is for you, but you can open it now. Like, it wasn't gift wrapped, it was just a cardboard box. So inside was a big, huge chunk of homemade coffee cake. It's like cinnamon and walnut, and like, oh my god, oh, yummy. Totally non-vegan, totally yummy, because it's Christmas. Right, Mayflowers? Love you, May. Love you, Kate. just totally quoted two of my favorite, or one of my favorite. Well, they're both my favorite, sorry. But May keeps saying all through Vlogmas, because it's Christmas, I can do it, right? So I keep quoting May, because it's Christmas, screw it, right? Anyway, so she gives me this, and it's, just like one of those, you know, village houses that these little candy canes that keep rattling on the front of it, that you put, you know, a candle or, you know, a light or whatever in the back of. So tonight I will put a candle in this and light it up. But I mean, come on, how sweet can you possibly be? She is just the nicest lady, and again, she's my son's landlady. She's not a relative, she's not a family friend, she's just the lady that my son rents his place from. You know, like, really nice lady. She's super nice lady. She's a retired teacher, actually. And I think she is working still part-time a little bit, but she is a retired teacher. So I just had to show you that. So we are going to bake. Okay, guys, I think we're going to end it there for today. I have like a whole nother, I don't know, about an hour's worth of video to edit. And I think we'll just make that Vlogmas Day 7 with some extra stuff added in again tomorrow. But I have so much to do, and everything's tomorrow. So, But anyways, do not forget to please subscribe and hit that little bell icon down there so you don't miss anything. And give this video and all my videos a thumbs up. And I love ya, and I'll see you tomorrow.